G'day guys, welcome back to Reach Me or Teach Me. Special thank you to the multiple people who have recommended this one. Brawl in Hockeytown, or aka Hockey Beef, Red Wings versus the Avalanche. Enough said, folks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's get straight into it.
Up 3-2 in the 1996 Western Conference Finals, the Avalanche had a 1-0 lead with 6 minutes left in the first period. They entered the game with the simple goal of knocking the Red Wings out of the playoffs. But with this hit, Claude Lemieux altered the futures of both
Claude Lemieux? Lemieux. Claude Lemieux. Okay. He's on my list to react to, by the way.
Franchises for the next 7 years. Chris Draper crumbled to the ice, Lemieux left the rink with a game misconduct, and a powder keg got its spark. They entered the game with the simple goal of knocking the Red Wings out of the playoffs. But with this hit, Claude Lemieux altered the futures of both franchises for the next 7 years. Chris Draper crumbled to the ice, Lemieux left the rink with a game misconduct, and a powder keg got its spark.
Okay. Alright. Ooh, is this a whole channel? Beef is? No. Okay, so he hit him with a rough shot. Unnecessary, or was there already some spite in the game? Was it just out of the blue? Were they already up heaps? Game was pretty much done. Was it just a hard hit that the Red Wings, I think, because he played for the Avalanche? So was it just a super hard hit that the Red Wings took exception to? Was there already spite in the game? Why was it such a big deal? Was it just unnecessary rough conduct?
While that one hit ignited the rivalry, the beef had actually been building since before the Avalanche were even the
Shut up and keep watching.
Avalanche. Lemieux had been a thorn in Detroit's side during the finals a year before, when his Devils swept the underperforming Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup. Lemieux won the Conn Smythe Trophy, which led to a contract dispute, which led to him being traded to the newest team out west. The Quebec Nordiques had just moved to Denver and became the Colorado Avalanche after being briefly named the Rocky Mountain Extreme. Led by future Hall of Famers Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg, they were Cup favorites and began life in Denver with a 3-2 victory over who else but the Detroit Red Wings. It was a mostly respectful affair, as both teams celebrated the return of hockey to Colorado. Detroit only lost 12 more times that season on the way to winning the President's Cup trophy. But one of those victories also directly led to the Avalanche's future success. During an 11-1 victory at Montreal, the Wings scored
11-1. That is brutal.
Future success. During an 11-1 victory at Montreal, the Wings scored 9 times on Patrick Waugh. He was finally pulled halfway through the second period, but having been kept in through that onslaught, the damage was done. Upset and with no glass behind the bench, he went straight to Canadiens president Ronald Corey to let him know he was done playing for Montreal.
Wow. Interesting. Also, 11-1. Like that's a massive blowout. Is that common, or is it like I don't think I've ever seen a scoreline, and again I haven't seen much, but I don't think I've ever seen a scoreline with double figures. So, does that happen often? Surely not.
4 days later, he was traded to Colorado. Following that opening night loss, the Red Wings beat the Avalanche 3 straight times, including a 7-0 romp on March 22nd, which led many to believe that Detroit had Waugh's number. But as they say in hockey, the regular season doesn't mean shit. They met in the Western Conference Finals, fired up the grills, and had some beef. May 19th, 1996, with the series in Detroit, the Avalanche crashed the Kid Rock-themed party and stole the first 2 games in front of a shocked crowd.
Hold up, was that a goal?
The Kid Rock-themed
No way.
party and stole the first 2 games in
Nah. Surely not, because there was I don't know what happened there. Just said from downtown. It looked like he scored the goal, but there was a goalie standing in the
front of a shocked crowd. The ever-eloquent Denver Post columnist Woody Page gave the Wings some bulletin board material when he said, "The Red Wings will get about half their normal oxygen at mile-high altitude, but they're already having problems breathing because it's difficult when you have your own gloves around your throat." Detroit brought the physicality to Game 3. In the first period, Slava Kozlov guided Adam Foote's face into the glass. The officials had no issue with this, so that
boop. cool.
The Avs took justice into their own hands. Claude Lemieux found Kozlov and said hello from behind. Each
Dog shot.
boy received a minor, and the Wings took the game 6-4.
That's dog shot. I hate that.
Afterwards, as Claude and his family left the arena, Detroit's coach, Scotty Bowman, yelled at Lemieux from the Red Wings team bus. Claude stepped aboard, traded barbs, and walked away pissed off. The next morning wouldn't be better for Lemieux when it was announced the punch got him suspended for Game 4. This didn't sit well with Colorado, who believed Bowman sent tape to the league office asking for Lemieux to be suspended. Bowman denied it, the team split Games 4 and 5, then returned to Denver for Game 6 and the hit. Draper suffered broken...
That's a much better angle of that hit. That first angle didn't look so brutal.
Bones to his jaw, nose, cheekbone, right eye socket, and had 5 teeth bent backwards. Other than Steve Yzerman, none of the Detroit players saw the damage until after.
Oh, wow. Because he copped the shoulder to the face, I believe, and then he's hit his face on the actual wall.
The game, a 4-1 Avalanche victory that knocked the Red Wings out of the playoffs. Once they did, many regretted showing Lemieux any sort of respect after the game. Once they did, till after teeth bent backwards. Other than Steve Yzerman, none of the Detroit players saw the damage until after.
Oh, did he hit it on the edge? Is that why? Sorry for pausing it.
Teeth bent backwards. Other than Steve Yzerman, none of the Detroit players saw the damage until after the game, a 4-1 Avalanche victory that knocked the Red Wings out of the playoffs. Once they did, many regretted showing Lemieux any sort of respect after the game.
I can't believe I shook this guy's friggin' hand after the game. That pisses me right off.
As for Lemieux, he was suspended and fined for the hit, but it wasn't enough for Detroit. Draper was left wondering if he'd have to take things into his own hands. It didn't help that the Avs went on to sweep the Florida Panthers in the finals, and it really didn't help that Lemieux never apologized. The Wings vowed revenge, spent the summer stewing over the hit, and made moves to make sure they could play the bully. In the second game of the 96-97 season, Lemieux tore a muscle that sidelined him for the first 2 Detroit matchups. They could have used him for the second time around. Martin Lapointe sent Avs defenseman Alexei Gusarov flying into the glass, briefly knocking him unconscious. This, plus a head injury to René Corbet, led Avs GM Pierre Lacroix to confront Lapointe after the game, where he was heard screaming, "You're never going to win a fucking game again." Which, as far as insults go, it's just a bold statement. When Lemieux finally returned against Detroit, he and Draper shared some words but kept their gloves on. The Avalanche skated away with the victory, while the Red Wings had to wait 10 days for the final regular season rematch. With police protection as the result of death threats sent his way, on March 26, 1997, Lemieux returned to Detroit for the first time since Game 6. Near the end of the first period, the brawl began. Everything looked par for course until McCarty spotted Lemieux standing alone. He came up along Claude's side and caught Lemieux with a right. From there, everything erupted in a way that looked rehearsed by Detroit. It became a scene with everyone playing their part, but afterwards, McCarty said no one talked about it before the game. It just happened, including McCarty kneeing Lemieux in the head. As the refs focused on getting McCarty off of Lemieux, the goalies went at it in an exhaustingly impressive display of balance. The officials finally freed Lemieux, who made his way to the locker room as the crowd erupted.
They are on their feet here at Joe Louis Arena.
As for McCarty, he
Yes, sir.
received a double minor for roughing. No fighting major, no game misconduct. Just kept on trucking. It took 10 minutes for the refs to restore order, but this game was already out of their control. Deadmarsh and Konstantinov dropped gloves. Shanahan and was already done trucking.
He's like sweeping the blood off the ice with his skate.
It took 10 minutes for the refs to restore order, but this game was already out of their control. Deadmarsh and Konstantinov dropped gloves. Shanahan and Foote went at it to start the second, followed a few minutes later by Keane and Holmstrom, Ward and Severn, and 4 minutes later, Deadmarsh looked to get some revenge on McCarty.
This game was wild.
Deadmarsh trying to get back from him. McCarty did to Lemieux.
Once everyone remembered there was a game going on, regulation ended with the teams tied at 5. Somehow, Darren McCarty was still in the game, so naturally, he scored the game winner in overtime.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it was a dog shot in its own right, but at least he was facing Lemieux. Lemieux. I'll figure it out one day.
After the game, Scotty Bowman said none of this needed to happen.
Could all have been put away, if he would have said he's sorry.
Less than 2 months later, Colorado and Detroit had a Western Conference Finals rematch. In a tough back-and-forth series, the rivalry took over in game.
That's, it's been mentioned in one of my other videos. What is it when they tripped him with the skate? Damn it.
4. During a 6-0 Red Wings victory, the third period had 204 minutes.
Slew.
Of penalties, 64 of which came in one altercation with just over 2 to play. Watching his team get beat in every way, Avs coach Mark Crawford had had enough and let Scotty Bowman hear it. Standing over the small partition between the two benches, he lay into the legend. Unfortunately, the broadcast didn't pick it up, but Adrian Dater was able to transcribe the tirade in his book Blood Feud. It pretty much just amounts to Mark Crawford yelling at Bowman, calling him old over and over again, and then telling somebody that he's gonna f***ing kill them. You know, the usual. Crawford was fined, the Wings won the series in 6, and then swept the Flyers in the finals. With the rivalry tied at 1 Stanley Cup apiece, Colorado came into the 97-98 season looking to get back on top. Lemieux knew he needed to squash his beef with McCarty before it led to more of the same. In their first rematch of the season, the pair dropped gloves right after the opening face-off.
I just love that about hockey. I just love it. There was no intention to play at all until they've had their fisticuffs. That's so cool.
While McCarty applauded Lemieux's attempt to end things on the ice, it wouldn't be enough. McCarty said after the game, "I respect Claude for doing that as a hockey player, but I still have no respect for him as a human being. He still hasn't apologized to Drapes for what he did." He added that he'd be fine if the blood feud never ended. On April 1st, the teams picked it right back up in a game that once again had 200-plus penalty minutes in the third period.
Man, this is some real beef between these teams. This is like nothing I've ever heard of in sports. I know there's teams that have got rivalries, but this is insane.
Period alone. That's where we got this beauty. Looking to gain control of the rivalry ahead of the playoffs, Wall fought his second Detroit goaltender in as many years. And despite losing...
Oh, that's so cool. Hang on. Sees the boys going at it. Oh, I've gone too far.
Third period alone. That's where...
This is so cool. Sees the boys going at it. He's just in the background. Wow, casually throws off the gloves, throws off the helmet. Says, "Come on, big fella. We can't miss out on the action." Oh, that's so cool.
Where we got this beauty. Looking to gain control of the rivalry ahead of the playoffs, Wall fought his second Detroit goaltender in as many years. And despite losing the game, he skated away celebrating. But in an interview with Osgood following retirement, he revealed that this fight was a different sort of turning point.
After our fight, this is where I realized it was overboard. This is not what we were there to do. We'd simply lost our focus, to be honest with you.
For the first time in 3 years, the teams didn't meet in the playoffs. Colorado was bounced in the opening round, and Detroit's road to back-to-back cups was made just a bit easier, ending with a sweep of the Washington Capitals. The rivalry was far from over, but over the next 4 years, the focus was on winning games instead of winning fights. In 2000, they even played the first regular season game in 20 years that didn't have a single penalty. The Avalanche knocked the Red Wings out of the playoffs in '99 and 2000, then won their second Stanley Cup in 2001. The Red Wings bounced the Avalanche a year later in a 7-game Western Conference Finals before winning the Cup back. Those last years gave us Yzerman's Statue of Liberty goal on Wall, Ray Bort getting his first cup in his final season, even a brawl that almost led to a third goalie fight had Hasek not tripped trying to get to Wall. The hatred turned into a shared respect between the teams, fan bases, and media. It helped that the Avs shipped Claude Lemieux back to the Devils in 1999, since he still never apologized for the Draper hit. They met and talked for the first time before the 2016 Avalanche Red Wings alumni game, and the past was left alone. Even the pair that combined to spark it all had moved on to just appreciate it for what it was. Two teams made up of some of the most talented hockey players in the world, pushing each other to be better. The beef was special and the hatred was real, making it one of the most unforgettable hockey rivalries of all time. Thanks for watching Beef History. I couldn't have made this video without Adrian Dater's book, Blood Feud. It's incredible. It chronicles the entire rivalry. There's so much in there that I couldn't even fit into this video, so go check it out. It's worth the read. Subscribe to SB Nation and comment down below.
Well done. Good video too, SB Nation. Jump on his channel and like that as well. I love the little comments that he was dropping in, like the little captions. That's the word I'm looking for. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, guys. That's insane. I'm so blown away. Like, I thought it was just going to be a one-game thing. I didn't realize this whole beef dragged out for years and years. And they happen to continually be meeting in the playoffs. That's just adding fuel to the fire. But yeah, thanks for the recommendations to all those who have recommended it. Really, really enjoyed that video, and hopefully we will see you in the next one.